the motivation and support that your presence here tonight gives us. My name is Rima Abu Hamdan. I am the mission coordinator for H.E.A.L, Health and Education Advancing Life. We are a small group of physicians and volunteers from South Bend, Indiana, a small city with a big heart. We travel to Lebanon to see Syrian refugees there and provide free medical treatment for them. We came together. We came together in response to the horrific images that we saw on the news, just like everyone else. It was just so hard to sit back and pretend that life can continue as usual. And then, once we started, we realized that there is already a big effort underway in this little town. There was a group of doctors that travels to Haiti, to other places around the world, and offer free medical health to kids and to whoever who needs it, regardless of their religious or political affiliations. And that's how H.E.A.L started. I'm not going to have a long speech. We've all seen those pictures. We've all heard the terror stories, and I let them speak for themselves. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an idea about what we do and the place that we work at in Lebanon. So Indiana is 9 times the size of Lebanon. So former Congressman Joe Donnelly, you're more like a president for there.
I can do that.
So Indiana is 9 times the size of Lebanon. It's a very tiny country surrounded by Syria on 2 out of 3 land borders. And when the war erupted in Syria in 2011, it was only natural that people who are fleeing for their lives would head, first of all, to their tiny neighbor country. And before we know it, little Lebanon, with a population of 4 million people, had 1.5 to 2 million refugees. I want you to take a moment and imagine 150 million Canadians or Mexicans running for their lives into the United States. If it feels something horrible, well, it's much worse. Because unlike the US, Lebanon doesn't have the infrastructure to support the 4 million population that it has. And now suddenly you had all that 50% increase. For example, Lebanon still until now doesn't have 24-hour electricity on all of its territories. Thus, suddenly we had a bigger humanitarian crisis because people who came to Lebanon were not just refugees. Those who had the means, whether of education or money, used Lebanon as a hub to go somewhere else. But those who were poor and miserable to start with, they were stuck there. They couldn't go back, and they have no hope of going further. In Lebanon, there was no government at the time, and the Lebanese didn't confine Syrians to camps. On the contrary, they took them into their houses, but then when the numbers got so big, we ended up with 2 large camps, one in the north and one in Bekaa. In these camps, 80% women and children, there is no running water, there are no bathrooms, there is no infrastructure whatsoever. There is no organized effort to address those people's needs, whether health, whether food, whether just living decent life until they can go back to their country. That's how it all started. We were seeing all these images, and then my husband and I, Meher, we went there just as a mother and a father. Because once you're a parent, your view of the world changes. You cannot just listen to the news and continue your life. Suddenly, everything is personal. Every little kid reminds you of yours. They're either the same age, or they have the same eyes, or they laugh the same way. And it could be you. You cannot just ignore it. And we went there as a mom and dad. I didn't know what I was going to do. He had his medical degree, and he could help. But I just wanted to show up and see what I can do, even if it's just holding a kid's hand. But then, as a mother on that first trip, through Dr. Ismailani, I want to say thank you. I don't know where he is. He's with us tonight. He introduced us to SAMS, Syrian American Medical Society, and we went with them on our first trip. On that trip, while Meher was doing surgeries, I found myself in scrubs at some point, and I was helping with surgery. That's how much it was desperate and that's how much there was need, although I'm not even in the medical field. But I started seeing things. I saw the anesthesiologist lift kids trying to guesstimate their weight to decide how much anesthesia to give them. I saw them rationing the anesthesia. I saw them wake up the kids very quickly to give them fluids because they did not have enough fluids. And then there was SAFE. This is SAFE. SAFE was the reason I went back to Lebanon on the second trip. SAFE is 7 years old. He has seizures, he has PTSD, and he has a series of problems. While SAFE was in surgery, the instruments that Meher was using were a little dull, so he wasn't getting the results that he wants. He asked me to go and speak to his mom and tell her to see if she can provide certain medications for him to ensure that he's going to have a good recovery. I found her trying to negotiate with the person who dropped her off how to pay him in installments for dropping her off, for driving her there. And that's, we're talking few dollars. That lady, there was no way could afford the medication. And I felt like I cannot just watch this. You can help one person, you can help two, you can help 50, but there is a lot more who need help. And I decided that when we come back, we need to do a more organized effort to go back and help more of those people. And we were so lucky because in this fertile land, there was already warriors of hope that were doing that work. And we went on the second mission. I want to tell you briefly about our second mission and the difference that we made. When we went the second time, every parent, they had their own transportation. And I have to note that the first time, a lot of people who were in desperate need could not show up because they could not afford the transportation. So the second time, we paid for transportation for everyone. We provided food for the families while they're waiting, and then we paid for all the medications. We paid for all the imaging, CT scans, MRIs, whatever is needed. The parents and their kid had a comprehensive medical care that was not just the medical part, actually, it was about, because they would show up with their little kids, with their elderly, they couldn't just leave them in the tents, so we took care of everyone, and we made sure that when they're there, they could just focus on recovering and not about how to get the medication or pay the bills. Now, I know there is so much happening in the world. I can think right now, I can think of 1,000 places that you can help and that you can do good and you can contribute. But we do ask you that please consider helping us on this mission. 90% of our patients are kids under 10 years old. These kids have no other way of getting the medical care they need. We need you to do this. This is an opportunity to do a direct contribution, to make direct change. Every cent that we collect through donations goes directly to patients. Every volunteer on this mission pays for all their expenses. I was on the receiving end at one day. I grew up in a war zone. I got all my vaccinations. I got my antibiotics when I was sick through the United Nations. And I remember I got a stuffed animal one time too. And that was coming from America. And I knew there was that place that I couldn't pinpoint on the map. There were some kids that used to play with it. And that was a bridge. I had that image in my head until I grew up and I knew where the US is. And it's magical because I'm here now. And I would have never imagined I'm going to be on this end. I'm going to be helping donate and give back. So you never know when you're on the receiving end or when things turn around. But maybe today we can all come together to make some good change. Thank you so much.
You know, I'm going to say a word because I come from my mother and she always talks. You know, I met Rima at Rafat's. And we were at Rafat's because we were campaigning, or we had a fundraiser for Senator Donnelly, who's here today. Thank you, Senator, for being here. And I met Rima and Maher there, and they talked about this incredible mission that all of us are now going to be part of. And just in passing, she said, "You need to come." And I said, "Okay, I'll come." I mean, that's what you say at a party when Senator Donnelly is being honored, right? So, okay, I'll come. to think that we've come this far, Rima and Maher, you have done so much already, and we haven't even gotten there. So just for a moment, would you all take a moment to recognize Rima and Maher for all that you are doing? And what we still have to do. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be so inspired and so part of this mission that is so meaningful. So then fast forward and here's Maher. You can clap for him too. So then fast forward and I'm at my workplace, which is at Alexo Medical. And who do I run into then, coincidentally, is Senator Donnelly. And Senator Donnelly is there because he had a mishap. And he told me this funny story about how he fell at a gas station and injured his leg. I'll let him tell you. But interestingly enough, I told him about this mission. He just said, I would like to be part of that. I would like to say a few words because I have spent time in those camps. And so, for a moment, would you be willing to come up, Senator? If you can make it. All right. So, but Senator Donnelly had an opportunity to spend some time in those camps, and his words are harrowing and also inspiring. So, Senator.
First, I want to say it's an Alex scooter, so we've got that. And to Rima and Maher, thank you so much. I am just in awe of all of you and what you're doing, because what you have to understand is when I was in those camps, I was in them in Turkey across from the Syrian border. And everywhere we went, people would say, we love America. Can you help us? Can you help us? If anybody can, you can. And you're the face of America. When you go there, you're the face of our country. And everybody has such hope and belief and faith in what you do. And you're devoting your time, your energy, your lives for these children and for these families. I saw a mom, and they were living in effect like those shipping containers that you see on the back of trucks or on boats. That's what they had a lot of the families in, were shipping containers. And the mom came up to me and she said, all I want is for my children to have a chance. And one of her children had been badly burned and had a facial deformity. And she said, all I want is for someone to help her. Well, that's who you are. You are the face of our country, the hand of God, and the instrument that gives them faith that their dreams can come true. So I just want to let all you know how grateful everyone in our country is to you, because the best diplomacy in the world is what you do. That the work you do makes their lives better and makes them love our country. And so we back here will be praying for you, praying for your safety, that everything turns out well. I'm sure it will. And to let you know, you're the best of the best that we have. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Donnelly. I just want to ask Dr. Mark Walsh and Dr. Mark Skopsky to tell us about their experience there on the second mission. I just want to say something also before they start, that when we were there last time, we were interviewed by Al Jazeera English, and the guy asked me, why are you here? And I said, we're here for the medical mission. We're here to help those kids. And he said, no, but you're American, so why are you here? And I didn't understand the question. And then he said that was the very, very first time he sees Americans that close to the front lines to help. He only sees Europeans. And that really broke my heart because I live here and I know Americans, they cannot buy a gallon of milk without donating to something, without caring about something. I mean, we care about the world, we care about every place. We want to make change all the time, and to know that over there, people think that we don't care, that we don't know what's going on, that really broke my heart. So thank you everyone who's coming with us on the coming trip. You are truly the face of this country. Thank you.
Rima, why would you ever give us the mic?
Well, again, Mark, the problem is the first time they saw Americans coming to help, the first people they met was you and I.
That's right.
It took the rest of the trip to rebuild that trust again. So,
Senator Donnelly, thank you so much. You've given us, that was a great talk. Most importantly, it was short. Thank you.
Mark, take note of that, please.
That's what I call self-awareness, Rick, okay? I'm gonna give you some numbers. Rima's talked a lot about the background. I'm not an anesthesiologist, but I'm a fake anesthesiologist in keeping with politics, Senator. And Rick taught me how to do anesthesia 10 years ago after we were there for the earthquake. And we've published about 4 papers together about doing anesthesia with an emergency physician in the austere environment. We're up to about 2,000 cases. And we have a great relationship. The numbers are the following. We did at least 123 cases, probably more, in 4.5 days. 123 cases that had to be done of these children who were recruited from those camps that you talked about. They were done safely with anesthesia that was from what century, Rick? Give me.
Oh, sometime around Napoleon, but we had the resources to do proper anesthesia the way it was supposed to be done. Things were done. First-class medical care was given to all of these patients, and that's the most important thing to remember, is that everybody gets great first-class care.
First-class care. No iPhones. Direct attention on patients. And we did a good job. So that's the background. 123 cases. There were more than that, probably 100. And how many? Rima, give me the number. Okay, 126 general anesthesia cases. Think about it. In 4.5 days, pediatric anesthesia. Just clipping them off. So what Rick's going to do is going to tell us about the first day, and I have 3 points to make with our story, and then much like Senator Donnelly, we're going to be gone, and you'll be happy. Take it away, Rick.
Quite quickly, the first thing we did was we walked into a room, and there was something that was not related to our mission. We quickly came in and found that they were doing a femur rotting, something. It was a very bloody case. We volunteered to take over just to get our mission kind of rocking and rolling as it went. The first thing they said was, this patient's going to need some blood, maybe at least 4 units during the case. Please start hanging blood right now. So I did what anybody in the right mind would do. I told Mark to go ahead and hang blood and took off. So.
And after that, we were off to the races. 3 things happened. 1, we provided the best care possible under those circumstances, probably as good as anywhere else in the world, because we paid attention, because we're attentive to detail. We're both detail-oriented. 2, 126 cases in 4.5 days? How the heck do you do that? Because 3, someone's organizing all of this. Someone's been out there in those camps recruiting these patients, making the phone calls, talking to the local people to make sure that the patients are properly screened. And you're looking at her right there, okay? That's it. I don't think I have anything else to say except one little story. We were at Al-Manara. We were at Tripoli first, and then we were at Al-Manara. And at Al-Manara, how far is the Syrian border from, say, here? Point to where the Syrian border is, Rick.
Over by that sign, that lit billboard sign right about there.
Close enough that when I was taking a picture, the security people confiscated my phone. The point is that we were going there and they were doing this audiology testing, and I couldn't understand why all these 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids had neurosensory hearing loss. It made no sense to me. I go, Steve, what the hell's going on? And he said, Walsh, don't you understand? These children have heard nothing but bombs going off in their youth. And they have neurosensorial hearing loss because of the bombs. And so one of the other things we're doing, we're not just operating, we're setting up for implants, for all sorts of things that Maher is going to do, that his colleagues will do, that Steve McTeague will do, that help, to make sure that they can hear again. So this is the real deal. I'm running out of track. I'm 72 years old. I figured that I put my faith in this woman and this man and roll the dice. And with my buddy, I'm willing to run out of track with him and my buddies. Thank you.
And quite honestly, what makes it simple and doable for us is we show up. Because of the organization, the patients, the translation, everything has been organized. We have people just coming to show up. We just worked because it was seamless. Everything had been planned out perfectly. We knew we were safe. We had a great system. Almost too much work some nights, but we fought about it, but we got it done. But anyway, the next thing that happened, the thing that really sticks in my mind was one day I stepped out of the operating room area and I was looking around for something, I don't even know what, and a man came up, he carried a toddler, he waved me over, and he took a selfie of him and the child. And I knew he just wanted it because he knew that we had taken care of the daughter. And all I knew was for him that there was a way to show that he had proof that there was hope. With H.E.A.L, there is hope. And he knew that there were people out there who cared. And we just kept one common thread going through what we did every day was an Arab word, yalla, which means come on, hurry up. And so after every case we said, yalla, next. And that's all I have to say.
Yella, next.
Thank you, Dr. Walsh and Dr. Skopsky. I think we're waiting on Isabel. We're gonna have a beautiful young lady perform a few songs for us. Isabel, there you are. Please help me encourage her and welcome her. Isabel writes her own music. She writes her own lyrics and plays her music, and she has a gorgeous voice that I'll let you enjoy.
Okay. Hi, I'm Isabel Puya, and I'm 14 years old. And I want to start off by saying I'm so honored to be here today, so thank you. And I want to give a special thanks to Mr. Alec and this organization for having me. I truly appreciate it. Last song, I just wrote it like a week ago, actually. It's called Blue Days. And it's about how I feel like all of our big world issues today has become a reality. And it's now normal. Like you can say another school shooting happened, or a kid got bullied and committed suicide and bombing, but no one cares much because it's happened so much. People don't have, I guess people are just used to it now. Living in blue days, where happiness, sadness feel the same. And no emotions, I'm falling into the pattern. Living in blue days, trying to remember what is real pain. The feeling's gone now, no one These blue days are reality today. Say somebody lost their life, no one will care. Say another school shooting, no one will care. Say somebody got bullied, committed suicide, nobody cares, nobody cares. Say somebody just got bombed, no one will care. Say war has begun, no one will care. Say somebody got shot in the parking lot, nobody cares, nobody cares. Now to realize nothing's a surprise. Now to realize nothing's a surprise. Oh, now do you realize nothing's a surprise? And I'm living in blue days where happiness, sadness feel the same. No emotions, I'm falling into the pattern. Say somebody lost their life, no one will care. Say another school shooting, no one will care. Say somebody got bullied, committed suicide, nobody cares, nobody cares. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a great night. Thank you.
I want to say a few thank yous. I hope everyone are enjoying their evening. We wouldn't be able to have this evening wasn't for the generosity and big heart of some people here with us tonight and some who are not. But I would like to mention them and thank them. And I would like, please, from everyone, every time you need a professional service or you have an event, please remember them and remember their generosity and how they're giving back to their community as well. A big thank you to Dr. Scott Thomas and Dr. Dave Sabato for donating the venue tonight. It's a beautiful venue of Ironhand. And the wine. I actually had wine tonight. I don't drink wine. They have great white wine. So thank you for this beautiful venue. First of all, it's a great addition to our town. It's so beautiful. We wish you all the best of luck. And thank you for donating it for us tonight. Also, a big thank you to Navar Catering Group for the delicious food for tonight as well. And thank you to our friend, Naji Boutros. He's in Lebanon. He's a domer and he has Chateau Bellevue. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It's a beautiful winery in Lebanon. It's award-winning wine. And he provided us with the red wine that you enjoyed tonight as well. We'd also like to thank the following professional services: Han Waltz for their work on our 501c3 and our organization, and for Krugel and Lawton for their CPA for their accounting services, also for our organization. And also for Steve, you're seeing him running around. Steve Toepp, thank you so much for Midwest Photography. He does a phenomenal job, and he's like one-stop shop. He does the sound, he does the, photography, video, everything. I mean, he's amazing. Thank you, Steve. And we have some very talented friends also. Dr. Sarah Rahman. Where's Sarah? Sarah made us a painting. You see it over there of Notre Dame. and she donated it for us to auction tonight. And also a friend of ours, Sarah Maita, who did this beautiful Arabic calligraphy of Darwish, also to be auctioned tonight. I want to thank both of them for their help. And we're going to move to the live auction.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Gabriel Saeed Reynolds. I teach in the Department of Theology at Notre Dame. More importantly, I'm the husband of Lola Reynolds, who's right there, and has been part of a larger group of people who have supported Rima and Maher through this. So thank you, Lola, and everyone involved with that. I'm going to say a few words about each painting as you're meditating on how much you want to bid for them. And let your imagination, nourish those thoughts to a high level. And before I do so, I'd like just to note that there are envelopes on the tables there. Any price that is given for either of these original pieces of artwork will go to the mission. In addition, of course, anything you want to donate through check or cash will go to the mission as well, so don't hesitate to do that. If you're interested in donating through a credit card, once again, Lola Reynolds there is holding up her telephone so she can receive donations through her with a credit card through her telephone there. And in addition, it's all tax deductible, so you will also get a receipt for that. So that's all very important. Allow me to say a couple of things about each painting. I'll start with the painting which Dr. Abu Hamdan held up there, which is of the Golden Dome. You might know, maybe I could just ask, who's the figure on top of the Golden Dome? Great, yeah, it's the Virgin Mary. Today, some of you may know, is the Feast of the Annunciation, so it's 9 months before Christmas. And of course, is the traditional date of the visit of the angel Gabriel to Mary. This is an interesting story, but because it connects both Christianity and Islam. The story of the Annunciation is found in the 3rd chapter of the Quran, and of course, the Gospel of Luke in the New Testament. And Mary is on top of the Golden Dome. She's the figure who unifies Muslims and Christians. You may know that, in fact, in Lebanon is the only country in the world where the Feast of the Annunciation, even the United States, it's not a feast day. In Lebanon it is, and it's jointly a Muslim-Christian feast day. It's the only holiday in Lebanon that's shared by both Muslims and Christians. There's also an entire chapter of the Quran, chapter 19, which is named after Maryam. So she's a figure of great importance and reverence in Islam. So you might think of this as reflecting the mission in which Muslims and Christians and others are joining together in service of the common good. So that will go up in just a second. We're actually going to start with the whirling dervish here, and I thought I'd say a word about that as, again, your brains are thinking about how much you might offer for these extraordinary pieces of original artwork. The dervish is, of course, a figure connected to the mystical tradition of Islam. The whirling part is part of a dance, which is a meditative, prayerful dance. The Sufi or mystical life in Islam is shaped around the pursuit of unity with God and ultimate peace. You may know there's a tradition in Islam that the greater jihad, some people hear this term jihad, right, and they think of war and conflict, but there's a tradition in Islam that the greater jihad is actually the struggle against evil and the sinful elements that one may find in oneself or the world around them. And so the greater pursuit that one is called to is for the good, and again, towards pursuit of unification with God. And the whirling dervish, in their dance, they oftentimes repeat the divine name. We might remember, of course, that the word Islam is related to the word in Arabic, which is salam, or peace. So it's a peaceful dance, which again reflects the mission of H.E.A.L in their service to the refugees in Lebanon. This calligraphic painting represents a dervish, but is done in a calligraphic style, meaning you have Arabic letters woven throughout in the shape of a whirling dervish. This, I think we're starting at $200. It was mentioned this is original artwork done here in South Bend by Sarah Maita. So I think we'll start there. And we have a bid already for 200, and we'll go next to 250. We have 250 here, and we can go next to $300. Anyone for $300 for this original piece of artwork of the whirling dervish? Thank you, Doctor. 300, 350. From Dr. Ansari, thank you, $350. Anyone for $400? $400? Yes, there it is, great. Wonderful. See, this is like the struggle, the greater jihad, struggling with each other for good. So we have $400. Anyone for $450? Over here, thank you. Thank you, sir. Amir, I think. Yes. Anyone for 500 then? We have 450. Anyone for 500 for this original piece of artwork? Thank you so much. You have 500 here in the back. Anyone for 550? Great, thank you so much. 550 for the original artwork of the whirling dervish or the Sufi adept. Anyone for 600? Thank you, doctor. $600, 650. 650, we're on to 700. Again, this is original artwork. We have it in the back. It's $700. And 750. 750 here. I think they're a team. On to anyone for $800 for this original artwork of the whirling dervish. $800. Okay, wonderful. $800 on to 850. 850. Anyone for $900 for the original artwork of Sada Maita of the whirling dervish? $1,000 in the back. So just official 1,000, going once, going twice. Sold. Thank you so much. Okay, and thank you. Yes.
With teaching, I think you have another profession in the making.
Thank you. Yeah. So, wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Abu Hamdan is holding up the painting of the Golden Dome, again done here in South Bend. Not only in South Bend, done by an artist, Saira Rahman, who again is here among us. So, yes, she's here. Right here, there in the back, and so. And I sometimes use the image of the Golden Dome to remind students of another Golden Dome, which is the Dome of the Rock, which is the city of Jerusalem, which the end of that word Jerusalem means peace. So it should be, and hopefully we pray it will be a city of peace of different religions. We're going to start the bidding on the Golden Dome with Mary on the Feast of the Annunciation at $400. Anyone for 900? 900 in the back. Thank you, Danny. That was very important at the last moment. 900. We're on to 950. So 900 going once, going twice, and sold. Congratulations. Thank you. So I think this is sort of a dramatic and beautiful ending. Thank you so much for your generosity. Again, if you want to give something, no matter how small, either through the or how big, in the envelopes, or with Lola Reynolds, there is chocolate on your table. I'm getting signal that there's chocolate. There's chocolate on the table. The chocolate has been donated from Lebanon. This is Lebanese chocolate. That has traveled across the world for the sake of your palate. So enjoy the chocolate. Again, let us all thank everyone who's been so generous, but in a special way, Dr. Mahmoud Abu Hamdan and especially Rima Abu Hamdan.